There's a lot in this world that's just plain stupid. Betting on The Undertaker to lose at WrestleMania... Wait a minute. Damn. Sorry. Telling your wife or girlfriend that yes, she does look fat in that dress. Why not try something that might make you a little bit smarter? It's time for another damn trivia show. Stick around and listen. I think you'll be glad you did. Quiet down, class. Shh. Attention here, please. We have to get attendance done before we can get to the job at hand. You know, of being the continent with the most countries. Go Africa! Haha. Okay, here we go. Algeria? Check. Angola? Check. Benin? Good. Botswana? Has anyone seen Botswana? There you are. Stop chatting with Madagascar. I don't care if you like to move it. Ugh. Look, this is going to take forever. There are 54 of you. I'm just going to assume you're all here. Today, in honor of having 54 countries, way more than any other continent, even that snooty-ass Europe, I've decided to let you listen to episode 54 of Another Damn Trivia Show from the Wicked Radio Network. Fun fact, the host of the show was captain of Team South Africa in 2010 for Manitou Camp's World Games. Sadly, they lost to South Korea. Okay, settle down. Look, we need to get the show started, so let's get on to some Triv Biz. For this week's Triv Biz, I'd like to thank Joe Keating for going to iTunes and reviewing Another Damn Trivia Show. He titled his review, "Why Do I Do This to Myself?" and gave it 5 stars, which is a pretty damn good start if you ask me. Here's his review. The only quizzes I've ever volunteered for. Great topics with a really cool host. Even if you're dumb like me, it's super entertaining to listen to. The best trivia show on the web. Good job, Brundage. First of all, thank you very much, Joe. Second of all, you're not dumb. And third of all, everyone should go listen to Stereotype Podcast because that's Joe's show and it is incredibly funny. It's got a cast of characters you don't want to miss, and they're very, very entertaining to listen to. You can find them on Stitcher, on iTunes, and on the Wicked Radio Network. So definitely go and do that. Speaking of things you should go and do, how about some trivia? Let's do that. But we're going to need questions for that, aren't we? So let's kick off our questions right now. For our first category this week, I thought it only fitting to honor 5 of the 54 African countries. So here we go with African countries. Question 1. This African country is part of the title of a 2004 Don Cheadle film, based on the true story of a man who housed over 1,000 refugees during their struggle against the Hutu militia. Question 2. There are 2 countries in Africa with very similar names, the Democratic Republic of blank and simply the Republic of blank. Both blanks can be filled in with a movie title, based on a Michael Crichton novel that features gorillas, some of which are killer gorillas. Question 3. This African country has Cairo as its capital. Question 4. This African country was the primary setting for a trilogy of animated films. And finally, the late, great Nelson Mandela was president of what country? And that does it for African countries and takes us to our second category, and this week that is Mac or not Mac. See, if you were like me when you were a kid, the McDonald's commercials with their colorful cast of characters was always far more enticing than the actual food you got at McDonald's, fries accepted. And I thought, wow, like I love those characters. You know, you got Ronald and Grimace and the Hamburglar and characters like that. But I did a little research and found out, man, there were some really wacky characters, some of which were only on maybe 1 or 2 commercials at 1 year, 2 years maybe, and some weren't even in commercials. They were in like little direct-to-DVD movies, or I guess video movies or something, of little cartoon McDonald's stories. It was really weird stuff that I looked up when I was researching McDonald's characters. So basically the way Mac or not Mac works is I'm going to describe 5 lesser-known McDonald's characters. And you tell me, is that actually McDonald's character? Is that Mac? Or did I make it up? Not Mac. Alright, so you got a 50-50 shot. Here we go. Question 1. Trash cans. A pair of talking twin trash cans used as part of a 1970s McDonald's commercial, with the premise being you fed them by putting garbage in them. The song "Don't Forget to Feed the Waste Baskets" were featured. Is that Mac or not Mac? Question 2. Uncle O'Grimacy. He appeared in 1978. He was touted as Grimace's Irish uncle and showed up to celebrate St. Patrick's Day and the annual appearances of the Shamrock Shake. Is that Mac or not Mac? Question 3. Sunny Bird. To further the familiar connections, this character was Birdie, the early bird's visiting cousin. Hippie-like, she simply loved the healthy McDonald's salads. The commercials only aired in 1985 and were pulled when critics said the message was that eating healthy meant eating like a bird. Is that Mac or not Mac? Question 4. The Griddler. Featured in 2003 commercials, the Griddler was created to promote the McGriddle sandwich. He did so by stealing them from Ronald and his pals. It is unknown if the Griddler was meant to be related to the Hamburglar or to Gotham City's Riddler. Is that Mac or not Mac? And finally, McCheese Jr. In 2006, McDonald's ran a commercial where Mayor McCheese participated in Take Your Kids to Work Day. His son McCheese Jr. got into harmless mischief while Mayor McCheese governed McDonald Land. McCheese Jr. always had a Happy Meal grilled cheese with him. Is that Mac or not Mac? And ladies and gentlemen, just to get you in the right headset, I'm going to list a couple of other Mac characters you may not have known or may not remember, but were in fact McDonald's characters, if you can believe it. One was Cosmic, who was around in the mid-80s. He was an alien who traded stuff for McDonald's food. There was Bernice, who was around in 1992, and she was a strange creature that ate inedible things, like scripts to McDonald's movies. There was Vulture, a monotone vulture who helped find Grimace's lost voice in a series of commercials in which Grimace lost his voice. There's Sunday, Ronald McDonald's dog. And finally, I-Am, spelt like Ian, but I-A-M, I-Am Hungry, who appeared from 1998 to 2001. He was a green fuzzball with orange arms, a self-proclaimed vice president of snacking, and basically just pestered Ronald and his friends for food. And ladies and gentlemen, all five of those were Mac. But did you guess who were and who were not Mac characters, McDonald characters, from the 5 questions? I guess we're going to find out. Our third category is add a letter, get a new word. So basically what's going to happen is I'm going to tell you to add a letter to the start of a word, but I'm not going to tell you what that word is. I'm going to give you a clue. And I'll also give you a clue as to what the new word will be once you do add the letter. For example, if I said add a P to a synonym for sick, you'll get something you might take to get over being sick. And the answer would be pill, because you add P to ill to get pill. Alright? So I'm looking for the word that you get when you combine the letter with the word I'm giving you the clue for. Alright? Here we go. Add F to a sewer-dwelling rodent, and you get a slang term for a college brotherhood. What is that college brotherhood? Question 2. Add D to the equipment used to make electric guitars and basses audible, and you get slightly wet. Question 3. Add S to the ratio of the number of minutes it takes to cover a mile or kilometer, and you get the final frontier. 4. Add C to a skin irritation, and you get a car wreck. And finally, add S to the toughened keratin at the end of a digit, and you get a land mollusk that tastes great with garlic and melted butter. And that's it for Add a Letter, Get a New Word, and takes us to our final category of the week, and that is We're Number 2, basically celebrating great sidekicks. Here we go. Question 1. This hunchbacked, limping lisper was sidekick to Dr. Frankenstein. Actually, most mad scientists, really. Question 2. This musical Canadian has been Dave Letterman's sidekick since 1982. Question 3. If ever it was party time, excellent, this sidekick could be found at Wayne's side. Question 4. This Cervantes character played second fiddle to Don Quixote. And finally, knowing Sherlock Holmes' sidekick is elementary, my dear. And ladies and gentlemen, that does it for We're Number 2. And that does it for all the questions this week. So let's move on to some shameless self-promotion. If you'd like to get a hold of me, it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Turn on your computer or mobile device. 2. Jump on Twitter. And 3. Look up at that's OH _ Brundage, or at @thereal_ADTS. One is my personal Twitter, and the other is the show's Twitter, but both get to me. Now, why would you want to contact me, you ask? Well, you can send me your score, so I can shout you out on the following episode. You can suggest a category. You can write me a category to use on the show. You can volunteer to be a guest brain. Or you can just leave a comment that you feel just simply must be said. About the show would be nice, but not necessary. Now, obviously, you found the show at least once. But did you know there are a lot of places on the interwebs to find another damn trivia show? There's iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and TalkShoe.com. My personal favorite is to go to the Wicked Radio Network, and when you're finished getting your trivia on, you can check out all the other fine shows being offered there. Finally, go to Radio Fubar, and you'll hear the latest ADTS pumped straight into your ear holes. That about does it for another round of shameless self-promotions. Now, on to your answers. This week, as per usual, we had 4 categories, 5 questions in each category. That means 20 questions, and you need 20 answers, and here they are. Category 1 was African countries, and your answers there were Rwanda, Congo, Egypt, Madagascar, and South Africa. Your second category was Mac or not Mac, and here are your answers there. Trash cans, that was legitimately a McDonald's character, or I guess a pair of McDonald's characters. Uncle Grimacy, also a McDonald's character, and delightfully racist against the Irish. Question 3, Sunny was not a Mac character, though she should have been. Question 4, the Griddler, you'd think I'd made that up because it was so close to the Riddler, which was a comic book character, which means I probably made it up, but I did not. The Griddler was in fact a character, again, not known if he was supposed to be related to the Hamburglar, but did pimp around stealing people's McGriddle sandwiches. What a jerk. And finally, McCheese Jr. was not a McDonald's character. After all, how could he be eating grilled cheese sandwiches? That would be like cannibalism, and McDonald's is several steps away from cannibalism, alright? So they wouldn't do that. Our next category was add a letter, and you were adding an F to rat, and that gave you frat. So that was your answer there, frat. Question 2 had you adding D to amp to get damp. You were adding S to pace for space in question 3. Question 4 saw you adding a C to the word rash to get crash. And finally, question 5 was adding an S to the word nail to get snail. And finally, we had We're Number 2. And our answers there for our famous sidekicks were Igor, Paul Schaefer, Garth, Sancho Panza, and Dr. Watson. And ladies and gentlemen, that does it for all the answers this week on episode 54 of Another Damn Trivia Show. But as always, let me leave you with some advice. There is so much to see in this big, wonderful world of ours. Continents like Africa, for example, has so much culture and history, it's really breathtaking. Then again, traveling can be such a pain. I recommend just going to Disney's Epcot. They have the World Showcase, that's pretty much like traveling, with far less chance of catching malaria, or being eaten by wild animals, or losing your luggage. Well, That brings us to the end of another damn trivia show. You're a little wiser, a tad more intelligent, and a heck of a lot smarter. You're welcome. Remember, there are no stupid questions, but there are stupid answers. Luckily, those are usually funnier. Have a good day, have a great week. Stay smart.